Hey, folks, this is John with Fortress Training. Listen, I thought I'd put together, a little something for you regarding everything that's going down with this national reciprocity that is just about, it's all the way through the House now. Hopefully, we'll get through the Senate, but who knows? But, what reason is I've seen on Facebook people just reacting, like even public officials, where it's like, oh my God, guns are going to be so bad. So what, of course, we've all heard and know of all the quotes that come out, about how bad guns are and, how bad they're going to, be if, guns are going to kill. And, the people that actually have the rights to carry, and you're going to find they are the safest people when it comes to arrest than any other group in America. I want to look at numbers. I'm going to take a look for you real quick. I just want to give you some facts. When we look at these numbers, I want you to know that the numbers I provide you just don't come from some unnamed source or recent studies, that kind of stuff. They're actually going to come from the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And if you want to, the federal government provides this information. You just Google it, FBI crime reports, FBI murder rates, and you can find it for any city, any state in the United States. And these are the numbers that come into the FBI every year. So what I want to look at is I want to look at the results of our common sense gun legislation here in Maryland, where, there's restrictions, all kinds of stuff you got to do to be able to either buy a gun or to carry a gun, and our neighbors in every direction. I mean, that's fair, isn't it? Let's look at the other neighbors that surround us in every direction, see what their policy is, specifically with carrying a firearm to protect your life or your family's life, and the results or their murder rates, so we can see what is the per capita murder rate. So before we get into those numbers, though, I want you to know, what does it require for you, if you were a citizen of these states, to be able to protect your life or your family's life for no other reason than you want to be able to protect your life and not rely on the police to come to do the report after your family or you have been shot. Because that's really what they're going to do, because they're not there and they can't provide protection for you 24 hours a day. So let's look at some of this common sense stuff that we have. So let's talk about getting a concealed permit in these states. In Maryland, if you want to get a concealed permit, you can. It's possible as long as you fall into a group. You are going to require 16 hours of training. You must pass the shooting portion with a 70% proficiency rate. You have to, again, fall into a group of people that can carry a gun. If you can't, I'm sorry. You can't protect yourself with a firearm. So if you can, though, and you have a good and substantial reason, that's okay. But you still have to get through the interview, so you will interview with an investigator or a trooper. And then wait 90 days and, of course, spend a lot of money for the training and everything else. Now, if you lived in Delaware, things are a little different. You have to take a 4-hour course. There is no scoring proficiency when you take this test. And when you pass the class, you have to get your certificate and send it in with a couple letters from friends, and you got to put in an article in the newspaper and things like that. But you can ultimately end up getting a permit to carry a gun in Delaware very easily. Now, if you are a citizen of the state of Virginia, things really change. In Virginia, you need to go get eggs and bacon, because what you're going to do is you're going to make eggs and bacon one breakfast, in the morning. You're going to pour yourself a cup of coffee and you're going to watch a 20-minute video. And at the end of that 20-minute video, you're going to pay for your certificate, and you are going to go to your sheriff and obtain that day a permit to carry a gun anywhere in the state of Virginia, and I think it's about 15, 18 other states. Now, if you lived in Pennsylvania, like those of you that live in Elkton or Moncton or out across the top there, you get up towards Hagerstown, even to the west, or, Cumberland. Yours is a little different, because if you live just a few miles up, here's what you would need to do. Don't even worry about those eggs and bacon. Just walk into the sheriff's office and say, hey, sheriff, I live in your township. I haven't caused you a problem. I have done anything. I've been an honorable citizen, and I would like to carry a gun in Pennsylvania and 26 other states. And you will be handed a single sheet, one side only piece of paper. You will fill that one piece of paper out and hand it to the deputy. Folks, when I filled this out, I handed it to the deputy, and in 7 minutes, the Pennsylvania State Police could make a decision that I could be issued a permit from the state of Pennsylvania, from that local sheriff. 7 minutes, the state of Pennsylvania could make a decision that it was okay for me to have a permit issued by that sheriff. Can you believe that? But that's what you need to do. No training requirements, nothing. You're responsible for that. West Virginia, there's 2 things you must accomplish if you are going to carry a firearm in West Virginia. And here's the 2 hurdles. 1, you have got to have successfully completed the birth process. In other words, you're born. Number 2 thing you must do is you've had to blow out 21 birthday cakes. And if you have accomplished both of those things, here's what the state of West Virginia says. Why is it that as a citizen you can freely defend your life and your family's life with a knife, a bat, a rock, a car, a crowbar, whatever you want, but you need permission from the government to be able to use the most efficient and effective tool in defending your life and your children's life and your family's life? Why is that? So here's what West Virginia and 13 other states total believe. They believe you have a right that shall not be infringed. The government of West Virginia says this: your forefathers have given you a right. And who are we as a government that you need special permission from us? You want to defend yourself with a knife or a gun? Choose what you wish. If you commit a crime, we will incarcerate you. However, if you use it to defend your family's life or your life, so be it. You are a free citizen that has the right to make that choice. That's the state of West Virginia. Now, all hell must be breaking loose in West Virginia. Total mayhem. Could you imagine every citizen has a right to just defend themselves if they wanted with a firearm? Wow, that'd be crazy. Well, let's look at the violent rate or the murder rate of per 100,000 people. This is the murder rate, and I want to look at Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And do you notice a pattern? That the states with the most restrictive gun policies, those with the common sense gun legislation to move us forward to a safer tomorrow, they're the ones with the highest per capita murder rate. And do you see the highest? Oh, that would be here. In Pennsylvania, you don't need a minute of training. You just walk in the sheriff's office. They have Philadelphia, which, by the way, has 3 times the amount of people in Baltimore. They have Pittsburgh. Why aren't they killing each other? Well, I thought, hey, let's look at some of these cities and let's look at Philly and Pittsburgh and the murder capital of the U.S. and let's see how we are per capita. So let's take a look at the cities, because Baltimore really can't be that bad with our progressive policies, can it? Well, let's see. In Philadelphia, there's 1.5 million people. 1.5 million. 600,000 in Baltimore. 1.5 million. 273 murders last year in Philadelphia. In Pittsburgh, which is about half the size of Baltimore, 302,000 people, 57. So wouldn't it make sense that if 300,000 people killed 57, that 600,000 should kill about 115, 114, 112, 120 if you have a bad year? No. Baltimore has 600,000, but we are probably going to be between 350 and 400 this year. They're going to lose their lives because of our progressive community policing and progressive common sense gun legislation. Look at this number. This one will really blow your mind. Chicago. Yes, they have over 700 murders, but there are almost 3 million people. Almost 5 times the amount of people in Baltimore. Could you imagine these numbers if it was Baltimore? There'd be 1,500 people dead. 2,000 people dead. As a matter of fact, here, you want to see it in real life? There it is. Look at per capita, 100,000 people, the success of gun control. Do you see this? We are twice as deadly as Chicago. Folks, when you hear about all this stuff, this common sense gun legislation, these are the numbers. Now, this chart, I don't think we'll get to 400, but I promise you, we will exceed an all-time high in this city. when you hear about this, you're hearing on one side, people should have a right to defend their lives, and the other side is the government will take care of it. You shouldn't have guns because guns are bad. Those folks have simply lost their mind. This year, you need to get involved. This year, you need to defend your rights and step up and say, I'm sick and tired. And this top-down policing and this top-down common sense gun legislation simply does not work. I thank you for your time. I hope you found this informative, and stay safe.